Welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie. We have a good show for you today. First topic we're going over is my every week Friday power rankings, going over all those, ranking every team in the league 1 to 30. Then we're moving into the Orioles calling up top prospect Kobe Mayo, and then Mike Trout being out for the season after a setback in his rehab. But before we do all that, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers to ensure that your question does get read in the air. Please use the link, GSMCpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so first topic is going to be talking about the power rankings of this week. Usually at the end of every week on Fridays, I do try to talk about ranking all the teams for the power rankings. I did not do it yet last week, as it was the trade deadline season, and there's a lot of trades going on, so I didn't really have time for it. I believe that was I talked about Randy Arozarena getting traded to Seattle, so wasn't much time for it. And now we'll be doing my first post deadline power rankings. So ranking all the teams 1 to 30. So let's get into it. So we do have a new number one here. I'll let you know that. And this team has been number one at some point in this season, but has not been number one recently. And the number one team in baseball currently for me is going to be the New York Yankees. The Yankees have had a very up and down season, starting off the season as clearly the best team in baseball. Kind of going back down to earth a little bit in the middle, having a really, really rough stretch last month, I'd say. And then this month, as soon as they got Jazz Chisholm, man, that offense has exploded. Did really well in Boston over there. Swept Philly, which is the reason why they are number one. Philly, to me, has been consistently the best team in baseball for a little while now. And the fact that the Yankees did sweep them with so much ease, to me, makes them the best team in baseball right now. I like what they did with the deadline with Jazz Chisholm. Of course, I would have liked him to add one more bat, but I think Chisholm is a fantastic player who is also a really good fit in that lineup. Defensive positioning is kind of a little bit iffy, but I think that overall the Yankees did well at the deadline. After sweeping the Phillies in Philadelphia, I kind of think that the Yankees had to be number one on this list just for this week. Will they be here after this? Not exactly sure, but hey, they've done really, really well. So props to them. Number two, I am going to be having the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles made a good amount of trades at the deadline, trading for Zach Eflin and Trevor Rogers. Two trades I really liked, just getting the players. Returns, of course, were a little interesting, giving up Stowers and Norby for Trevor Rogers. But hey, what are you going to do? Pitching prices were insane, so it's kind of it. So I like what the Orioles did a lot here, adding these controllable, good, battle-tested playoff starting pitchers. So I really like that there. And yeah, overall, the Orioles made the second best team in baseball. They have had a little bit of a rough patch recently, but the way they were doing so well at the start, they were kind of bound to always have some. They were always bound to have some kind of adversity come through, and that's what happened. But they're still doing really well, and they've still been a really, really great team. So props to them, and I do have them here at number two. Third, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers, first National League team on this list. Yes, they did overtake the Phillies as the best team in the NL. Phillies are very close, believe me, but I'll explain why. So for the Dodgers, they are, of course, missing two of their best bats. Mookie Betts, of course, been out for a little while now, and Freddie Freeman is dealing with a personal situation with his son. So obviously, all thoughts go out to him. That's a very serious situation. So I think everyone wants him to take as much time as he needs. But for the Dodgers, they are, of course, missing one of their better players now with him and Mookie in the middle of the lineup. So the lineup isn't as great, but they had a really nice the deadline, getting Tommy Edman, getting Ahmed Rosario, getting Kevin Kiermaier, three players I think are going to be very big parts of your lineup going forward. Jack Flaherty, of course, adding the ace-level pitcher that you needed. So Dodgers have been really, really good recently, and with the Phillies being swept, I do think currently they are the best team in the NL. Currently, on August 2nd, 2024, just right now. So obviously, I'm sure that'll change. I do feel like the Phillies are better, but right now the Dodgers are 3, and of course I have the Phillies at 4. Again, I've talked about why the Phillies aren't 1 at this point. Getting swept by the Yankees in your own ballpark is really rough, and if we're just looking at it in regards to this season, I do think that the Phillies have to be moved down a little bit, and they are put here at number 4. So yeah, overall, I think that's where the Phillies are, but I'm sure they'll be back in the top 3 going into next week. It's probably going to happen. Just again, a little bit of a rough week. Didn't add as much as I would like them to at the deadline as well. Carlos Estevez, very good closer, but adding Austin Hayes, in my opinion, isn't really the answer to your offense. So overall, I do have the Phillies here at number 4, and yeah, a little bit lower than I think some people, but hey, if you're getting swept by the Yankees and Philly, you kind of gotta put them down a little bit. Number 5, I am going to be having the Cleveland Guardians. Guardians, of course, have been fantastic this entire year, and I think pretty much deserve this number 5 spot. I was a little bit underwhelmed what they did at the deadline pitching-wise. Just getting Alex Cobb isn't great, but Lane Thomas is a really fantastic addition to this offense and really does make it a lot more sustainable. You now have him, Josh Naylor, Steven Kwan, Jose Ramirez. That's a great three. That's a great top 4 of that lineup over there. You also have some other great bats as well, like Andres Jimenez. You have also Gabriel Urias, who is young, Bo Naylor, who's been doing pretty well, David Fry. So overall, I still think that this Guardians team is really good. They deserve to be here at number 5, and yeah. Number 6 here, we have the Houston Astros. What an improvement for the Astros this year. I think I had them like 15 or 20 when just 2 months ago. So the fact that the Astros have done this well and have continued to do this well and have stayed like it is pretty fantastic. And yeah, I do have them here at number 6. They've been absolutely fantastic. Adding Kikuchi was a really nice get as well. Have a really good rotation, even with all the injuries. Going into the playoffs, it's going to be Framber Valdez, Ronald Blanco, Yusei Kikuchi, Justin Verlander, 4 really good starters. So Hunter Brown as well, we can add in there. Spencer Arrighetti is depth. So overall, I really like this Astros team. I think they're becoming the Astros of old once again. I think a lot of people were overreacting when they said, the dynasty's done, all that kind of stuff. So with how well the Astros have done, I think they have to be here at number 6. And man, what a turnaround from the start of the year when I and a lot of people really thought that they were kind of done and they would finally have to go into a rebuild after being competitive for so many years. 7, I'm going to be having the Kansas City Royals. I really, really like what the Royals did at this deadline. Adding Lucas Erceg and Hunter Harvey as bullpen arms was a really good job by them. Paul DeJong should help shore up your second base position as well. And Michael Lorenzen should give you a solid number 5 starter. You have a really great top 4, but I think the number 5 spot has been a little iffy with Alec Marsh being in there. But now adding in Michael Lorenzen, a guy who just eats quality innings for the past few years now, I think is a really nice add. So I love what the Royals did at this deadline. Bobby Witt Jr. is playing like the MVP. Benny Pascantino, MJ Melendez, Salvador Perez, Michael Garcia, other guys as well in this lineup were also really good. So like what the Royals are doing. I like this team overall, and that's why I do have them here at the number 7 position. Number 8, I'm going to be having the Milwaukee Brewers. Didn't do much this time. I would have liked them to do more. I think they should have added a left-handed outfielder bat with the loss of Christian Yelich for a little while. But added Frankie Montas is a very solid starting pitcher who can eat some quality innings. And overall, I think that this Brewers team still is very good. Have a lot of good young hitters. Of course, there's Rhys Hoskins, who you signed in the offseason, who has been fantastic. Lane Contreras has been one of the biggest breakout stars this year. Young superstars like Jackson Chourio. You also have Sal Frelick, Tyler Black, Garrett Mitchell, some other guys as well in this lineup. So this Brewers team is really good. Their pitching is going to become a weak spot for them down the season, but right now they've done really well, and their offense is pretty great. It'll be interesting to see if it does stand up still with the loss of Christian Yelich, but they have such a high lead on this NL Central that I don't think they need to worry too much. And yeah, still a really, really good team. Number 9, I am going to be having maybe the most controversial selection of this top 10, but it is going to be the New York Mets. I think currently having the Mets at 9 is not crazy whatsoever, and I'll explain why. This team really, since the start of June, since scrimmage throughout the first pitch, have been maybe the best team in baseball. The offense has been absolutely electric. The rotation has been very solid. Obviously, it takes a big hit now losing Kodai Senga for the year. He came back from injury and now is out for the year. Obviously, really does suck. But Quintana's been really great over the past few weeks. Severino's always solid, even though he had a bad start yesterday, but he's allowed one once in a while. You also, of course, added Paul Blackburn, who's solid. David Peterson's been solid. And Sean Manaea has also been very good over the past few weeks or so. So they've dealt with a lot of injuries. They haven't been the greatest all year, but they've really picked it up since June. The offense is electric. You have, of course, Francisco Alvarez, great over there at catcher. Pete Alonso, great hitter. Jeff McNeil's done much better in the second half. Francisco Lindor is being an MVP candidate. Is third right now in the NL in WAR. So is a genuine MVP candidate. I don't think enough people are talking about it. Mark Vientos might be the biggest breakout player of this entire year. He's turned into one of the better power hitters in the entire league after I wanted to trade him for a middle relief pitcher in the offseason. Brandon Nimmo's been fantastic. JD Martinez, of course, is great. Harrison Bader's been good. And Jesse Winker was a solid addition to the outfield. So this Mets team is absolutely fantastic. I do have them as the 4th best NL team, the top wildcard seed in this scenario. even with them not being in the wild card right now. I mean, they're only half game out, so it's not exactly like it's 4 or 5. They still are great, and with how many teams are together in the NL wild card, it's kind of just up to you for what order you want to put it at. And at 10, I do have the Braves, the team I have them above. The Mets split with the Braves, and probably would have won that series if they didn't have all the momentum shot out of them once Senga got hurt. I think they have the better lineup. I think the Braves pitching is going to collapse at some point. I just don't think Reynaldo Lopez and Chris Sale are going to continue with this. And I think Max Fried is going to suffer a more serious injury because just how it's going with his arm injury. So overall, I do have the Mets above the Braves. I still do have the Braves top 10, but I didn't really like what they added at the deadline. I think they should have gotten the starting pitcher. I think the Soler fit is a little awkward. So that's why I do have the Braves at 10 and the Mets at 9. So that is my first segment here, going over my power rankings 1 to 10, going over what I believe are the top 10 teams in baseball. We're moving into our second segment, which is going to be talking about my second portion of the power rankings, numbers 11 to 20. Maybe more exciting in some people's eyes. You get, this is where you really get to determine who's where. You get more freedom with the list because you don't really have to look at standings as much. So, yeah, we'll be going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment, which is going to be talking about my power rankings, numbers 11 to 20. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, GSMCpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so we do have numbers 11 to 20 here. Just did finish up my numbers 1 to 10, which is on the live stream, or I'm sure I've uploaded to YouTube by the time you're watching this. So, yeah, overall, let's just get into it. So, starting off at number 11 here, we are going to be having the Minnesota Twins. Yes, I have the Twins below the Royals and the Guardians, and mainly it's because of their deadline. I did not like what the Twins did at the deadline. I don't think anyone did. I understand you had financial constraints, but you got to get creative at this time of the year. And also, we learned today that you made a pretty substantial offer for the White Sox's Eric Fetty. The only reason the White Sox didn't take it is because it was in division, who was owed $7.5 million on your contract. So I think that kind of deteriorates the reasoning that you can get anyone because you were money struck. Well, $8 million an $8 million contract on the books for next year. You're adding probably $2 or $3 million for the rest of the year. That's not exactly a cheap contract. So the fact that you guys keep saying, oh, we didn't have any money to add someone, that seems not like the best reason. So I don't really like what they did, but they still have a fantastic team. Too many injury-prone stars, that was the thing. Correa, Buxton, and Royce Lewis, arguably the three best position players they have, are all really injury-prone and all have spent some time in the IL this year. More Royce Lewis than anyone else, who just cannot get over the injury bug. But still a really good team and still a lot of good pieces here. So I do have them here at number 11. Number 12, I am going to be having the San Diego Padres. Padres are a really good team. Added a lot at the deadline. Have a super bullpen now. I mean, you have, again, as I've said before, 6 very good to elite bullpen arms. You have Tanner Scott, of course, you just added. Jason Adam, who you added. You have Adrian Morejon. You have Jeremiah Estrada, that's 4. UK Matsui, that's 5. And then you have Robert Suarez, which is 6. That's 6 very good to elite bullpen arms. That's basically your whole bullpen as well. I believe you also added Brian Hoeing in the Tanner Scott trade, so that's basically your full bullpen. And man, is it insane. But, you do have some questions with the starting pitching. Joe Musgrove is an injury risk. Darvish, we don't know when he's coming back because he's dealing with a personal situation. Michael King hasn't really been exactly what you've wanted, but still been okay. But Dylan Cease has been just, a light in the dark for this rotation. Has been so good. An incredible trade by A.J. Preller. And Drew Thorpe isn't doing that hot in Chicago as well, who was the main piece of that trade. So looking like a steal right now. We'll have to see how it goes in the future. But, yeah, this rotation still has a lot of question marks, but the bullpen helps it out, and the offense still has so much incredible talent, even without Fernando Tatis Jr., so I do have them here at number 12. Number 13, I have the Seattle Mariners, one of the teams who I thought had the best deadline. Adding Randy Arozarena and Justin Turner was a really, really good job there. Adding Yimi Garcia to the bullpen as well was really fantastic. So I really like what the Mariners did there, and they still have such insane pitching that as long as their offense scores 3 or 4 runs a game, which shouldn't be that hard, they're basically going to win. So I think this team is built for the postseason with a rotation of Castillo, Kirby, Gilbert. That's an incredible top 3. You got Brian Wu, Emerson Hancock in there as well. So an incredible rotation of this Mariners team. Justin Turner and Randy Arozarena are going to be really, really nice adds for this lineup as well. So I really like what's going on here with this team. And, I like this team overall. So, yeah, I have them at number 13. I know it's a big gap between them and the Astros, but I understand there's a lot of teams within it because I put the Astros at 6. But I still think they're pretty close. It's just there's a lot of close teams this year. And you'll see that going down. You'll see when I have all the NL teams putting everywhere. Red Sox, I have here at number 14. I like what they did deadline as well. Adding Danny Jansen was the right-handed bat you needed. A little bit of a weird fit as you already have an all-star caliber catcher on the roster with Connor Wong. But still, Danny Jansen is a really good bat that should fit well in this lineup. Wong can move around to first, second, and third when you need him to. And overall, I like the bullpen adds. Getting Lucas Sims and Luis Garcia were really nice as well. And James Paxton and Crean Priester will add a lot of rotation depth as well in there. So, like what the Red Sox did, still a really good team. Rafi Devers is such an incredible talent, one of the best hitters in all of baseball. I don't really think that should be up for debate anymore. You have him and Jarren Duran, who's been great. Of course, as I mentioned before, Connor Wong. Dom Smith has been a pleasant surprise at first base, filling in for Tristan Casas. Sedano Rafael has been another good young player. And, of course, in the rotation, you've had some really good pieces in Tanner Houck, Garrett Whitlock, Nick Pivetta. Bullpen, Kenley Jansen has been shut down as the closer. So, overall, I really like what this Red Sox team is doing. I really like what they're cooking and like what they added the deadline as well. Number 15 here, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. Once the Diamondbacks get everyone healthy, they'll be high on this list, but right now, I can't put them higher, but I still like what they're doing a lot. Ketel Marte is an MVP candidate. I like the Josh Bell ad as a nice insurance for Christian Walker's injury. Corbin Carroll's been heating up. Gabby Moreno's a really good catcher as well, so I really like what this Diamondbacks team has been able to do this year. I like the pure talent. I like the bullpen adds in AJ Puck and Dylan Floro. And, yeah, I really like what's going on here with this Diamondbacks team. Number 15. All right, so the Diamondbacks now, I'm just going to warn you, that is starting a run of 4 straight National League teams. Sorry, that National League teams are just so close together this year. You look at the NL wild card and you're seeing how that's true. So, going to go over this now. We have first off at number 16, the St. Louis Cardinals. I like the Cardinals did at the deadline a lot. Was one of my big winners. Getting Eric Fetty and didn't even give up a top prospect, only giving up Tommy Edman, who would become excess goods, was a really good job. Tommy Pham has already helped out a lot, hitting a grand slam in his first at-bat back in St. Louis. So I really like those 2 ads as well. Ryan Helsley's been struggling a little bit recently, giving up a walk-off to the Cubs last night, but still is one of the premier closers in this game. Sonny Gray hasn't been as great as you wanted him for that contract, but still really good. A lot of course, a ton of great pieces like Wilson Contreras, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, who still haven't been as great this year, but still have the name pedigree to get by. Of course, Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, all these kind of guys. So overall, Cardinals still at 16. An interesting team to say the least. I think to do anything to make the playoffs, you have to have Arenado and Goldschmidt perform better. And yeah, that's really it. 17, I'm going to be having the Pittsburgh Pirates right below their NL Central friend Cardinals. I like that they did deadline as well. I think you should have added more, maybe a bigger time bat, but Brian De La Cruz and Jose Connor-Falefa are really nice complementary pieces to your lineup. Of course, an insane rotation with Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, and Paul Skeens, one of the best top 3s in the league, probably the best top young 3 of this league because they're all really young and under control for a long time. So, yeah, I really like this Pirates team for that. Again, kind of Falefa and De La Cruz add into your lineup as well, with the guys you have like Connor Joe, Jack Sawinski, you have Andrew McCutchen, Ryan Reynolds, who's the big star. So I like this Pirates team a lot. I think you need to add some more offense in the offseason, but overall right now, still a really good team. 18, I have the Giants, whose deadline I gave an F, and I still stand by that. If you want to go check that out, please do. It's on the channel. But overall, this team has a fantastic rotation. It's just I don't like this lineup. Giving away one of your big hitters in Jorge Soler just to get off his contract made absolutely zero sense to me. Adding Marcano was a nice get, but you need the guys in your own team to play better. And also, you just dug yourself such a hole in the NL wildcard right now, having to go above all these teams. I don't know how it's going to be possible, but look, the rotation is absolutely fantastic with Snell, Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, all that. It's really, really good. So if anyone could do it, it's them with the pitching they have. It'll be interesting to see for the future, and very exciting and interesting to watch this Giants team for the rest of the year. Number 19, I am going to be having the Texas Rangers. The Rangers did not do much to the deadline, but they really didn't need to. Just need to wait for the guys to get healthy. Need Max Scherzer to become Max Scherzer. Need Tyler Mahle and Jacob deGrom to come back. Those are really the big guys. Evan Carter apparently is going to be out for the year, so that's kind of a big blow. But you still have so many good offensive pieces. I mean, Jonah Heim, Nathaniel Lowe, Corey Seager. You also have Marcus Semien. Obviously, Josh Young will come back soon. Wyatt Langford, Adolis Garcia. You have Tavares in the outfield as well. Really nice bullpen arms in Kirby Yates and David Robertson, who have been fantastic signings. So overall, I like what this Rangers team did a lot, and I like that they're trying to go for it. I don't agree with the decision, but for a baseball fan, it's fun to watch them. And as a Mets fan, I always hope that deGrom can do well. So yeah, I do have the Rangers here at number 19. And number 20, I have one of the biggest sellers of the entire deadline, the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays are still a good team, though. I mean, they're getting pitchers back. Jeffrey Springs is coming back, and I think they're pretty well in his season debut. You still have a really good lineup. I mean, you're going to have Yandy Diaz at first, right? Probably have Christian Morel around, maybe in left field or second. But you have Brandon Lau there. You call up Junior Camarino, give Curtis Mead more playing time. Jose Caballero and Taylor Wall split time at shortstop. Jose Siri in center field. So still a really good team, which is how crazy it is. They were that even with trading all these people. So I like what they were doing a lot, and I have them here at number 20 because of just all the selling they did. So that is my second segment here, going over my power rankings numbers 11 to 20, going over what I think are the 11 to 20 best players in the league. We're moving into our third segment, which is going to be talking about power rankings number 21 to 30. So going over all the teams I did not mention in the first two segments, of course. So we'll be doing that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment, which is going to be talking about my power rankings, numbers 21 to 30. We just, of course, did numbers 1 to 10 and then 11 to 20 on the show. So if you want to watch those, they're probably on YouTube, or if they're not, you can go on the live stream and reverse back till you see it on the screen here about power rankings, whatever segment you want to watch. But before we go into now numbers 21 to 30, finishing off my Friday power rankings for this week, we'll ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so again, numbers 21 to 30, third segment here. You guys get the drill. going to be reading off all these teams again. They are, of course, worse than all the teams above them. But really, it's only once we get to, I would say, number 27, that's when it really starts to get bad and you start to see the real bad teams of this league. So, yeah, let's get started off with number 21, which is going to be the Chicago Cubs. Now, it is interesting that I have the Cubs below the team they bought from. I, of course, had the Rays at 20, and the Cubs bought probably their best player from them, in Isaac Paredes. But the Cubs still don't have a great team. I think their pitching rotation, even though I really like it a lot, has taken a little bit of a dive. Shota Imanaga has been as great recently. Jameson Tano has been good, but how long is that going to keep up? Also in your offense, there's just a lot of underperforming talent right now. And you just lost one of your big-time relief pitchers, Adbert Alzolay, who's already been dealing with injuries, but pretty sure now it's official that he'll be out for the rest of the season. So, overall, I like this Cubs team a lot on paper, but that's really been the problem. They have not put it together. Craig Counsell, unfortunately, has not been the big-time manager you expect him to be. I still think he'll be really good. It's just he's been a little bit of a disappointment since coming over there to Chicago. So, I like this Cubs team a lot on paper. It's just they got to put everything together. Players got to start performing up to their standard, and that's really all you got to do for the Cubs. And not really looking far. Mark Leiter Jr. is a loss to that bullpen, as is Hunter Bigby, but I'm sure you can replace those guys pretty fine. And again, you traded for Morel, but again, an upgrade at third base position. Isaac Paredes, the third base upgrade you've been looking for a little while now. You have a really good infield now with Paredes, Swanson, Horner, and most likely Bellinger at first base, I believe. Well, we'll see if you trade for a superstar first baseman in the offseason or sign one. Pete Alonso and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I think, are possible, but that's a conversation for a different day. So, I do have the Cubs here at number 21. 22, I have the Cincinnati Reds. Reds have so much talent on this team. It's just a shame all the injuries happened. I think once Matt McClain was out it was announced that he would be out for most, if not all, of the year, and then Noelvi Marte got suspended for PEDs. It really was just going all downhill for you guys. It really wasn't, it really just made it clear that it wasn't your year. And that's just kind of unfortunate. Again, I think the Reds have a ton of talent, are one of the best young teams in this entire league. And the fact that all these injuries happened, and again, it just became clear that it wasn't going to be your year, really sucks, because also, Elly De La Cruz is finally playing up to the potential that we all expected of him, and it's really unfortunate that he's not going to be on a national stage, and people aren't going to really know how well he's doing, because the Reds aren't doing that well. Now, MLB's done a lot to market him, of course, being he was in the All-Star game, has done some promos with the MLB social media accounts, but still, I think, needs a lot more exposure, and that only comes when the Reds are good, so that's definitely one of the big things that's wanting the Reds to be good right now. So, do have them here at number 22. Still a lot of talent. Still a really nice starting rotation with the top two of Dolo and Green. I'm sure Chase Burns will be up rather quickly. So, still do have them here at number 22. 23, I have the Detroit Tigers. Tigers, of course, traded Jack Flaherty, which is a big loss. But other than that, really no one else. Still have a great pitching staff in Derek Skubal, who is maybe the best pitcher in all of baseball. You also have Reese Olson back there, who's also solid. Jackson Jobe should be up relatively soon. Offense has just been the big problem. Again, I've said it multiple times, but if your three prospects of Colt Keith, Spencer Torkelson, and Parker Meadows were able to hit, I think we're looking at this Tigers team in a whole new light, because you do have players here that can hit. You have guys that you can look at as people of your future. Justin Henry Malloy has been a nice person there. You also, of course, have Riley Green, who's been absolutely fantastic. Matt Vierling's been a pretty solid bat that's coming over from Philly. So there is a lot of pieces on this Tigers team. It's just there's not enough, and they have to put it together. And trading Flaherty now is only going to make your rotation worse for this year and the future as well. So it's going to be a very, very interesting team to watch for a little while. 24, I am going to be having the Toronto Blue Jays. Basically sold off everyone of value with a year left on their contract. I think they should have done more. As I said before in my trade deadline video, I think it's pretty insane they didn't even shop Chris Bassett and Kevin Gausman, considering how high the prices were for starting pitching. But I'm not in charge of them. So overall, still have a really nice core there with Vladdy, with Bo Bichette, who of course hasn't done great there, Dalton Varsho. But it's just about putting it together, about everyone playing up to their standards, and they just haven't done that. Again, I was a big proponent that the Blue Jays should blow it up, should sell off this team, should go into a deep rebuild, but they obviously disagreed for some reason and are now going to try to compete again next year. Good luck with that. Don't really think it's going to work. So I do have the Blue Jays here at number 24. Number 25, I'm going to be having the Washington Nationals. Nationals aren't a horrible team. It's just, again, as I've said multiple times now on the show, I think it's just not their year. I think going into next year, they'll be a genuinely very good team. You have James Wood for a full season. Dylan Cruz coming up. DJ Abrams become a star. Can get one of the prospects you got back in the Lane Thomas trade. I think Jose Tena could probably be a starting third baseman next year. Juan Yep has been a nice surprise for you guys. Keeper Ruiz is solid at there at start as catcher. So overall, there are a lot of good pieces on this Nationals team. Have a really nice, good young rotation as well. But again, just looking towards next year right now, I think really next year is when all the guys are going to start to come up. Really, everyone is going to break out, and that's when I'm going to see that's really when I'm going to see all the different young national stars come up and play and really be in a full season. This is where it starts to get bad. Won't lie to you. 26, we have the Angels. Of course, Mike Trout is now out for the rest of the year, which of course is going to be my segment 5. But other than that, you still were never going to do that good. I don't know why you didn't trade off some of your rentals, though. I mean, why are Brendan Drury and Kevin Pillar still here? That makes no sense. Luis Rengifo and Tyler Anderson also should have probably been gone, so I don't know what they were doing at the deadline. Only thing that saved them was the insane return you got back for Carlos Estevez. But overall, Angels still are not good. Still do not have a lot of good players. This team is bad. End of story. We kind of know this already about the Angels. They're a really bad team, and I'm not going to spend too much time on them. 27, I ain't going to be having the A's. A's should have blown it up more. Should have tried to trade Mason Miller. Should have tried to trade Brent Rooker. Didn't really do either. Got some good returns back for the guys you did trade, but I think should have done a little better. And this team is just absolutely awful. So I do have the A's here at number 27. Rockies 28. Why did you not trade Elias Diaz? Why did you not trade Cobb Wantrell? I went off on it yesterday. I don't have the energy to do it today, but yeah, this Rockies team is a mess. They do have some nice young players coming up. Ezekiel Tovar is on some insane hitting streak right now. Adele Amador is going to be a really nice player in the future. Brenton Doyle has become really solid. I think Charlie Condon should be on your starting roster next year. Ryan McMahon is obviously a star. So there are some pieces growing here for this Rockies team. Jordan Beck is here as well. There are some pieces starting to, become prevalent for this Rockies team, but still should have done more at the deadline. And yeah, I think that's just really it. Now, finally, the two worst teams in baseball. We all know who they are, but what order will I have them in? 29, I'm going to be having the Chicago White Sox. Yes, not the Marlins. The Marlins are the worst team in baseball. I'll explain why. But the White Sox are just absolutely awful. Traded basically everyone who's good. Didn't create Crochet or Robert, which makes sense because no teams were very interested in Robert because his price was too high, and then Crochet made those demands about his contract extension and playing in the playoffs. So all teams were kind of scared off by that, so they didn't get traded. But still, overall, this White Sox team is absolutely awful. They're going into a deep rebuild, and yeah. 30 is the Marlins. The Marlins are the worst team in baseball. Every single person who was good in this team is gone, as they should have done, by the way. That was the right decision. More teams should learn from that, to go all in on a certain decision. Whether you're buying, whether you're selling, go all in. Especially for a team like the Marlins, who are just so awful. No good players in this team really anymore. This team is really bad, and it's going to be very fun to watch them for the rest of the year. So, recapping my power rankings here, I'll go after it. Number 1, I have the New York Yankees. 2, Baltimore Orioles. 3, Los Angeles Dodgers. 4, Philadelphia Phillies. 5, Cleveland Guardians. 6, Houston Astros. 7, Kansas City Royals. 8, Milwaukee Brewers. 9, New York Mets. 10, Atlanta Braves. 11, Minnesota Twins. 12, San Diego Padres. 13, Seattle Mariners. 14, Boston Red Sox. 15, Arizona Diamondbacks. 16, St. Louis Cardinals. 17, Pittsburgh Pirates. 18, San Francisco Giants. 19, Texas Rangers. 20, Tampa Bay Rays. 21, Chicago Cubs. 22, Detroit Tigers. 22, Cincinnati Reds. 23, Detroit Tigers. Sorry, I said them again. 24, Toronto Blue Jays. 25, Washington Nationals. 26, Los Angeles Angels. 27, Oakland Athletics. 28, Colorado Rockies. 29, Chicago White Sox. And 30, Miami Marlins. So that is it for our power rankings for this Friday. Top 3 seconds. We'll be going into our 4th segment, which is going to be talking about Coby Mayo and him being called up by the Baltimore Orioles, one of the top prospects in all baseball. So we will be going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our 4th segment here, which is going to be talking about Coby Mayo being called up by the Baltimore Orioles, one of the top prospects in all baseball. So let's get into it. But before we do that, I would like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers to ensure that your question does get run in the air. Please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really did mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. So, all right. Big news did come out yesterday that the Baltimore Orioles were calling up Coby Mayo, one of the top prospects in all baseball, one of the biggest risers in all baseball as well, prospect-wise, a 4th-round pick in 2020 that was really not thought of very highly, now has risen all the way up to number 15 on MLB Pipeline's prospect rankings. I'm pretty sure as a top 30 consensus prospect all around. And yeah, I want to go over Coby Mayo's impact on the Orioles and all that, so let's get into it. So, first off, going over a little bit of a scouting report for Mayo. Mayo is a monster of a talent, 6'5", 230, plays in the corners, either third base or first base. I think projects more as a first baseman well into his career, but I also think that he can play third base for maybe the first year or two in the major leagues, but then probably will have to shift over to first base just because of his size and his power. Has a 45 hit grade, a 65 power grade, 65. Highest is 70 highest is 80 by the way. Nobody ever gets 80. A running grade of 40, arm grade of 70, and a fielding grade of 45. So obviously this is your classic big, tall, power hitting arm combination of a guy. I mean, you look at his minor league stats; they're just bonkers. They're insane. A 308 average this year in AAA, a 375 on base percentage, 961 OPS. And he played 4 games in A+ ball this year as well, and had an OPS of 2,000. So he's really, really good. That's basically what we're going to say. He played 4 games in A+ ball this year and 3 home runs. So yeah, he's really, really good at baseball is what we're trying to say. Mayo is an elite power hitting prospect, a guy who is just so good with that bat, hitting balls out of the park. Not sure how it's going to project in the Orioles ballpark with that big wall over there in left field, but I think he's able to spray it to all ballparks, and man, his power is just insane. So if anyone can hit it over that wall pretty consistently, it's going to be Coby Mayo. So I'm really, really excited to watch this guy in the major leagues, like very, very excited. I love his power is just absolutely insane. I don't know how to describe it. So Fangraphs also has him as number 12 prospect in all baseball. So obviously, he's a very highly thought of consensus top prospect. It's just absolutely incredible. And Orioles fans have been begging for a little while now that he is called up by the team. And they finally got their wish. And I am very, very excited to be able to watch him. And it's especially exciting because the Orioles, of course, are in a pennant race. Getting your top prospect, one of your top prospects at least, because the Orioles have such a good farm system that Mayo isn't even their best. He's probably their third best, and he's top 15 consensus, which is insane. But watching him down the line with this pennant race is going to be incredible. I mean, he's playing today at third base versus the Guardians. I mean, you now have a lineup of Colton Cowser, Anthony Santander, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan O'Hearn, Adley Rutschman, Ryan Mountcastle, Cedric Mullins, Coby Mayo, and Jackson Holiday in that lineup, which is insane. I mean, it's truly incredible the amount of young talent the Orioles have in this team, and they're not even done. I mean, you have Samuel Basallo, who's going to come up rather quickly. I'd say in the next year or so, he'll probably be the first baseman at DH. Let's say you move Coby Mayo to DH, you then have Ryan Mountcastle over there. It's over there probably at third base or something. And I mean, I look at this team and it's just incredible what they're able to do. And just the amount of talent they have is really just incredible. And overall, I don't know, man. I know people, I'll say it again, I know people are against tanking in baseball and taking in sports, which I get. But when you tank successfully like the Orioles have, you get these top prospects. I mean, you have Colton Cowser, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, you have Coby Mayo, Jackson Holliday. Those are 5 top 30 prospects in the major leagues at some point. You also, of course, have Samuel Basallo, still cooking in the minor leagues as well. So the fact that the Orioles have this much young talent is scary, and man, are they going to be so terrifying to watch in the future. And going over Mayo, he's going to help a lot with this team. I think they've really have lacked that big right-handed power threat, because you have your big power threats like Gunnar Henderson, Colton Cowser, Anthony Santander, Adley Rutschman, but all those guys are either lefties or switch hitters. The only righties you have in the lineup right now is Ryan Mountcastle. And Mountcastle's a good player, but he's nothing compared to the potential of what Mayo can do with the power in that bat. So he really adds a really nice middle-of-the-order power bat in that Orioles lineup. I'm really, really excited to be able to watch what he can do there. And yeah, I think it's going to be really very exciting to be able to see what is going to happen with Coby Mayo overall, how he is going to perform at this major league level, and yeah, just what how Coby Mayo does project in this league. I think that by the time Mayo is in his peak, he's going to be a guy that hits consistently 40 home runs. Like, genuinely, I'm so high on this guy. I think he is a fantastic prospect. The Orioles are lucky to have him, and man, this team is going to be nasty, nasty, nasty for years to come. I mean, the Orioles right now are in a very tight pennant race with the Yankees to win that AL East. You're either going to be the first seed or the fourth seed. You either get home field advantage to the rest of the postseason, or have to play in a wild card game in the fourth seed. So it'll be really interesting to see again what does happen with this Orioles team overall. Overall where you are going to finish for the rest of the year, and just man, this Orioles team is going to be scary for not just this year, but for the future as well. The future they have with them is just absolutely enthralling. I mean, man, it's so scary what they're going to be able to do. And I'm so, so excited just as a baseball fan to be able to watch it. I got to get to Camden Park soon, and Camden Yards soon, and be able to watch an Orioles game. Haven't been to that ballpark in a little while, and man, is that ballpark absolutely beautiful as well. Fans have really shown out once they started to win. Their new owners spending money, and man, they got a really fantastic, amazing future ahead of them over there in Baltimore. So that is my 5th segment here, going over the top prospect Coby Mayo being called up by the Baltimore Orioles. We're moving into our 5th and final segment here today, which is going to be talking about Mike Trout and the news that he is going to be out for the rest of the year after a setback in his rehab. So we will be going over that, and we'll see you after the 4th and final break. So thanks, and bye. And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fifth and final segment for today, which is going to be talking about the unfortunate news that Mike Trout is going to be out for the rest of the year. So we'll be getting into that, but before we do that, I would like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We did get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link at GSMCpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so fifth and final segment is, of course, going to be about today the unfortunate, pretty sad news that Mike Trout is going to be out for the rest of the year after he tore his meniscus again in his rehab. And yeah, Mike Trout has slowly become, unfortunately, one of the biggest what-if stories in the history of sports. I'm 18 years old. I was, of course, born in 2005, and Mike Trout was the guy I watched growing up. He was the man, the myth, the legend, was three-time MVP, probably would have won more if there wasn't for voter fatigue. So seeing just what has happened to Trout, not even in the later parts of his career, I mean, he's really not even that old. He's barely above 30. It's not even like he's like 35 or 36 or something. He's still in a relatively, not a young age, but still in a good age for a baseball player. And the fact that he's dealing with all these injuries, that have come, that have basically been a constant in his career is just so unfortunate. Such a sad thing, and yeah, just overall is something that really, really is just so unfortunate to watch here with Trout. I think that, it's just, again, it's such a horrible thing because Trout, again, is slowly becoming one of the biggest what-if stories. He's becoming one of those guys where, what would have happened if he stayed healthy? Would he have gotten a ring? All that. And the fact that Trout, maybe his career might be over, which we'll talk about later in the segment, and won't win a ring is just really unfortunate. So obviously, this affects the Angels in a ton of ways. I mean, they weren't ever going to be good this year, but Trout's the reason why people come to the ballpark, him and Ohtani. And with Ohtani now, of course, gone forever, being on the Dodgers, people can probably just take a trip down there if they want to see him, and not having Trout as well. It's just really unfortunate and is something that is so sad and for so many reasons with how great of a player he was. I think really if Trout stayed fully healthy, he might have been the greatest player of all time, honestly. I mean, really. So, his birthday is also in 5 days as well, which is very unfortunate. So, not a great happy birthday present. I mean, looking over Trout's career, a 3-time MVP, a Rookie of the Year winner, an 11-time All-Star, a 9-time Silver Slugger, a 2-time All-Star Game MVP, Major League Player of the Year, and an overall defensive award as well. So it's not even like Trout was just such a great hitter. He played center field to a high degree. I feel like people don't remember that of him. He really played center field to an amazing degree and is one of the premier defenders in this league. Not just was he a generational type hitter, he played great defense as well. I mean, you look at his stats right here. I mean, his OPS consistently throughout his career was, he started off with 69 OPS plus in his first year and really didn't, play much. After that, I mean, look at this. 168, 179, 169, 176, 173, 186, 198, 182, 167, 194, 176, 131, 136. I mean, just the consistency of Mike Trout's bat is second to none. Second to none. I don't know if anyone ever is going to match how consistently incredible Trout was in his career. And he somehow never made the playoffs. He made the playoffs once and got swept. Even with having the other best player on his team, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, Trout and Ohtani were, again, the two best players in the entire league for a good amount of time. And the fact they never even were close to making the playoffs as well. I mean, they went for it last year, and then that was just a huge disaster. So, overall, if Trout's career is over, and I don't think it's over, but I think it's really looking dim right now. It is going to be one of the biggest what-if stories in Major League history, for not just baseball, for all sports as well. A lot of people have now started to compare Mike Trout as the Ken Griffey of this generation, and unfortunately, I would have to agree. Both are on teams that really never had much playoff success, were a premier center fielder in the league, and also were a premier center fielder in the league who was probably the face of baseball for a good amount of time at one point, and injuries really ruined the full potential of their career. I've also seen a lot of people, asking, is Mike Trout a Hall of Famer or not? He, of course, is a Hall of Famer. Anyone saying he's not a Hall of Famer doesn't know anything about baseball, with all due respect. I mean, in my opinion, probably the greatest offensive peak we'll ever see. He had 7 or 8 years of genuinely being an out-of-this-world hitter. He's going to be someone I tell my kids about, and I'm going to tell my kids about. A generational type hitter, a generational type player, one of the greatest athletes of all time, one of the greatest players of all time. And it's unfortunate to see him go out like this. And I just hope that, again, my biggest hope is that I'm overreacting and he comes back next year and does great. That's really what I can hope, and that's really what I really want to happen. So, yeah, just so unfortunate what's happened with Trout here. And I really hope that he gets past all these injuries, get past all these tough times, and I hope that in the end he comes back to being the Mike Trout we love, and somehow, some way, ends up winning a championship with this Angels team. It looks doubtful, and I think one of the worst parts about this as well is he can't even force his way out anymore. I mean, I think there are a lot of rumors the past 2 years or so that he would eventually get tired of the Angels and force his way out to his hometown, Philadelphia Phillies, who have been rumored to get him for decades, it seems like. So that's unfortunate because no one's probably going on to take his contract. So I don't really think he has a chance to win for the rest of his career. It's so sad. And yeah, again, I really hope that Trout can get past all this and becomes the Mike Trout that we all know and love eventually. So that is my fifth and final segment here, going over Mike Trout and the unfortunate news that he is going to be out for the year, tearing his meniscus once again. I want to thank you so much for watching the show today, guys. Not just today, but for the entire week as well. It was a great week talking about baseball, going over the trade deadline. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did as well. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Make sure to like, subscribe to the notification bell to not only get notified when I upload, but all the other great content creators on this channel too. Again, thank you so much for watching this week, guys. It was a great week. I had a ton of fun, and it was so exciting. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll be able to see you tomorrow. So thanks, and see you on Monday. Thanks, guys, and bye. Ooh, nope, that's the wrong button. There we go. Bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.